everybody. Hopefully my video will stay facing this way today. We'll see who joins us. I'm going to turn on my computer without sound, just so I can keep track of comments when we flip around. I do have 3 cards that we're going to do tonight. I have been really, hi Kayla, really trying to do the Stampin' Up! Challenges that they've had every, for the last couple of months, and I think they're going to do it for 6 months. They'll probably do it until at least April, maybe till June. But they have challenged us with a simple stamping challenge, and for the month of December, they challenged everyone to create a card with a note card, and you could use stamps, ink, and the note cards. From what I remember, I might be forgetting something, but I did that in one of my lives. We created a simple stamping card, and then when January came around, they posted a new simple stamping challenge for us demonstrators to show our customers, and it's a challenge. It's really hard for me to do simple cards. So I played around a little bit yesterday, and I created a simple stamping card. The rules, I'm going to read them to you. Hopefully I'm already logged in. Might have to refresh my screen. So the rules this month for the simple stamping challenge are that we needed to, let's see, it's a Valentine's inspired card. So that was already something that I don't have a ton of Valentine's stamp sets, but I do have some sentiments that kind of lean towards Valentine's Day, or I would totally use them for Valentine's Day, so it may not be exactly what they are asking of us for our challenge, but the theme is Valentine's Day. The supplies that we are allowed to use are stamps, ink, and paper, but this time they gave us a bonus material or tool, and that is that we can use a punch on our card. So this is all using the hashtag simple stamping, and our first card that we're going to do today is based off of that challenge for the Valentine's Day stamps, ink, and paper, and using a punch. So, oh, I need to say hi to Eli too. Hi, buddy. He's so cute. I love that he likes to watch, but I know it's frustrating for him, for me not to sit and visit, and that he can see me, but I can't see him or hear him. So I know that is hard for him to understand when we talk a lot, so it's okay. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Another thing that I'm going to do tonight that I'm super excited about is I have been browsing around, trying to find another thing that they talked about at our Stampin' Up! Convention is cards for all 3 different types of crafters. So we have a beginner crafter, we have a, oh goodness, and now I'm going to butcher them. We have a beginner crafter, and then we have, I think, Avid Crafters next. That might be the last one. I have my book, actually. Let me double check. In our magazine that Stampin' Up! Sends us every quarter, they usually will post kind of step it up cards. Okay, so we have new crafters, casual crafters, and avid crafters. So I knew I was going to miss one of those. And what that means is that we have crafters that are not super confident with their crafts, that they would classify themselves as not crafty, and they usually typically need like the basic of all basic, or they get super overwhelmed. So my question is how many people who are watching, either live or the replay, feel like you are in that category as a new crafter who gets overwhelmed with big things. So that's the first one. So you can say you're a new crafter. The next one is a casual crafter, and usually they're a little bit more brave with using a few different colors of ink, or maybe doing a little bit of fussy cutting, or using a couple of different layers or a ribbon. That is usually something that a casual crafter would do. And so if anyone is in that base, you could say you're a casual crafter. I would definitely say that I used to be a casual crafter. I wasn't super confident with adding tons and tons of different embellishments or layers. Framelits I kind of used here and there, but not anything too extensive, at least in the beginning. But I think definitely now I'm an avid crafter, because I look at a simple card and I think, what else can I put on it? It's not enough. And so it's way more of a challenge for me to do a simple stamping card than it is to just keep layering and using different colors. And I could use probably 6 or 7 different things out of our catalogs and still think of something else that I could add. So it's way more of a challenge for me to scale it back. So how many of our watchers today are avid crafters? So you guys can comment to let me know which one you think you would be in. A new crafter, a casual crafter, or an avid crafter. And we are going to make Step It Up cards today. So the first one will be our simple stamping card. And the second one is a casual crafter card. And then the third one is an avid crafter card. So we are using one of the new stamp sets, Incredible Like You, from the New Occasions catalog that just came out on January 3rd, and we're using it for all 3 of our cards today, so I'm super excited about it. The colors we are using are kind of cool too, because the first card is only using Poppy Parade and Whisper White and a little bit of vellum or silver foil, depending on if you have it or not. The next card I added an old olive color to our Poppy Parade. And then our third card, I added a third color and then a basic black color as well. So I kind of built up my supplies as the cards went on. So I'm super excited to share them with you. Oh, Kayla, you could totally be an avid. You see things artistically like that, and I totally think you could. All right, so we're going to flip around. Oops, I just knocked it over. And I took my case off of my phone today so that maybe this would go a little bit quicker. A little bit quicker. We'll see. I did not practice, so although it's probably going to be crooked and want to fall out because I took the case off. Okay, I might have to use my hair clip. I'm really sorry if this is throwing you all off here. I might have to hold that down. Ah! I'm really sorry. I took my case off thinking it was going to help me, but I don't know that that's helping. All right. We are going to try again. Hi, Ashley. So I'm just trying really hard to hold my phone so that it doesn't bend like that. Here, maybe I'll tilt this. Okay, we'll see if that is going to stay put, and I might just leave it there. Oh, how about that? I put my rules there. So I'm going to flip my grid paper over. Or I'll just use that one later. So what we're going to do is we are going to, I'm really sorry that I was going crazy like that. I'm going to zoom in just a little. And I will pull that down, and that will kind of be my guide. All right, so our first card, again, is inspired by the simple stamping. And we are using, I cut out some of our pieces already, but some of them I just left so that I could do it with you guys. We are going to be using the stamp set. So I'm going to use my piercing mat. Our base is a Poppy Parade. This is half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Poppy Parade. So this is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and then it is scored at 4 1/4. So that is our base. And then this layer is the layer that we're going to be stamping on. And this is just a Whisper White cardstock, and that is cut at 5 by 4. And we are just going to, I'm going to get some scratch paper really fast. We're going to do some two-step stamping, which means that we're going to get two different shades out of one ink pad. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull out our Poppy Parade ink pad, and I'm going to just open it up just like that. I've used the Poppy Parade a little bit more, so it is a little bit easier to open at this point. So we are using the Incredible Like You stamp set, and if you can tell which ones we're going to be using today, we're going to use these 3 on this card. They're the flowers that I'm focusing on for the first. Actually, we use them for all 3 of the cards today. I think they're just really beautiful. And then the sentiment that we are going to be using is the I Just Adore You. So that will be our Valentine's inspired sentiment. And so I have my example sitting here so that I can use it to remind me what I did for this card. And then I have my clear blocks. And mine are probably filthy compared to what they're supposed to look like, but I typically just wipe them off with a Kleenex at the end of the day. Hi, Mama. All right, so what we're going to do is with this simple stamping technique challenge that Stampin' Up! Has given, they recommend that you stick to the most simple design that you can. So what we're going to do for this is I'm going to use my scratch paper to stamp off. So I'm going to do 1, and then I'm going to do the stamped off on my actual card. So we'll stamp, and then we will go here, and then we'll do 1. So this is to get 2 different shades, and I'm gonna try really hard not to look at my example and want to do it exactly the same, because it really doesn't matter that much that it matches. I'm pretty much just making my own background of a card on here. So what I try to do is try to not have 2 going the same direction that close to each other. So I'm just using my Poppy Parade to stamp off, and we will do 1 more, I think, because I want to leave room for my sentiment. So we're going to do that one there. Okay, so then I'm going to go full strength with I Just Adore You. And it is going to go right here. So this is going to be a 1-layer card made with 1 stamp set and then just ink and paper. So the added in thing that they told us that we could use this time for the challenge, oh, I love it. It's so pretty. These stamps are beautiful together, And this one just by itself is really pretty. Here, I'll show you without the background. I would totally just use that and color it in. It's so, so beautiful. So I'm not stamping this one off. This is just full strength Poppy Parade. But it shows that you can get 2 different or 3 different or 4 different shades out of one ink pad. So you really can do a ton with just one ink pad and some cardstock and a stamp set. So it doesn't have to be super intimidating. We're just going over all of our frames. These ones are a little bit easier to line up because they're the see-through photopolymer stamps. Hi, Shelly. So we're doing our simple stamping card that is Valentine's inspired. So that is all of our ink for this card. That was super, super fast. Did not take much time at all. We did a little bit of 2-step stamping, but it happened really, really quick. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Scrub, and I think, yeah, it's still wet. I was prepping the 3rd card earlier this afternoon, and so I already sprayed it down. So I'm just using the wet side to clean it and the dry side to dry it down. All right, so that is our stamping. And so now what we can do is we can take our snail adhesive, which I have in my little case here. If I can get it open. Sometimes they're a little bit more stubborn. You can open it up, and I'm going to just do one at the top and one at the bottom. And we will put this on. I wanted a little bit thicker of a red border of the Poppy Parade because I love this color so much. So that is the first part. And so now the other part that we can do on our simple stamping card is they have given us a bonus material tool, and that is a punch. So I, of course, wanted to use our sprig punch. This punch has probably been used the most out of any of our punches. Maybe, okay, that's maybe not true. The Starburst punch is very, very close second. But this one gets used so, so much because I like to use it behind circles or ovals or framelits or anything. So what I have done for this one, and I could possibly just do one, and this one would totally be okay with just either a vellum or the silver foil paper. But I literally just found a scrap piece of paper that I liked, and I just cut one out in silver foil, and I'm going to cut one out in the vellum. And vellum makes kind of a squeaky sound. So as you can see, I've done quite a few. This punch is amazing. I'm so excited that it carried over, that they told us that we could keep it for a little bit longer. Okay, so another tip that I want to tell you is we're going to do the silver on the top because we're going to hide our adhesive. And the adhesive that we're going to use is a glue dot. So we're going to take our sprig and we're going to have our foil. We're going to put it right at the bottom of our foil piece. And I'm going to kind of layer them kind of cattywampus, if that is a word. And so it'll look a little bit like kind of off kilter there, but I felt that the foil and the vellum kind of brought a different kind of element to the card. So we're just going to put that glue dot on the back there, and I just put it like right off to the side of my card. So that is literally our super, super easy, simple stamping Valentine's inspired card. So we did that so, so fast. I hope that you can see that simple stamping can be really easy. It may have taken me forever to just think of one, just to come up with one that I could do that was super easy. But making the card itself is really, really easy to do. So the difference in these two cards, you can see that they're a little bit different, is that this one I used the glimmer paper, and it kind of has, let's see, I don't know if you can see the glimmer part of it. So it's got kind of a sheen, but it also has more of a vanilla color to it. So it's a little bit more mild. And this one is the Whisper White color. So they're both beautiful. I didn't do quite as many flowers on this one. I was trying really hard not to be really picky and perfect with what I did, but I used the same Poppy Parade for both of these cards. So I hope you like those. So that's card number 1. So the next thing that we're going to do, I'm gonna need my scrap paper and my foam mat because of the photopolymer stamps. I'm gonna move a couple of my pieces of trash out of the way. The next card that we're going to make is going to be using the Poppy Parade and the Old Olive. And these are probably 2 of my favorite colors that we have in our Stampin' Up! Catalog right now. So I'm going to try not to show you it, but I am going to put it over so I can see it. So what we're going to use is I cut this one a little bit different. I cut this one at 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2, but we're going to use it and open it like this. So there's just something about a different type of fold that I think is really fun. We are going to use a similar layout of our flowers, but we're going to add leaves to them. So this one is going to go pretty similar to the last one. This layer is cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and this is what we're going to do our flowers and leaves on. And then for this card, we are going to add a ribbon, which is our braided linen trim. And I've used this before. Look, I'm almost done with this one. I'm so excited. It's always exciting when I finish a ribbon. Went all the way to the bottom. That's always a big deal to me. So we're going to use that ribbon on this card. And then we're also going to use another punch. We are going to use I think this one is the tailored tag punch. I'm almost positive, but I'm going to double check just in case I'm thinking of something else. Let me check here. Tailored tag, I was right. Okay, so this one is really cool because it kind of is a little bit like it is a tag that kind of looks like that hotel has I can't remember which one it is. There's a hotel that has this shape for their logo. Can't remember which one it is, but every time I see that hotel, it might be Embassy, it might be, I can't remember. I think it's the one that my sister used to work for, which is why it always stands out to me. But we are going to be using a punch of, and actually we'll punch it right now. We will use Old Olive to punch out one of that. And we're actually going to be doing a sentiment on that one. And then with our Poppy Parade cardstock, we are going to be cutting out one of those. Actually, we do 2 of those. I'm so sorry. And here is a second. I love our punches. They are amazing. So that is all we are going to do with our tailored tag punch. And now we're going to do a little bit more stamping. So what I'm going to do with this one, we'll do our sentiment first, and I'll switch it out here. So for this one, we are going to do I hope your day is as amazing as you. And that one is right here. So I'm going to switch this one out and take this sentiment off and put on this one. And because I'm already using my bigger blocks, I'm going to do it sideways. So I'm going to use our Old Olive and just do a tone on tone for this one. And I'm going to try really hard not to put my head in the frame because this one is a little bit closer to the edges. All right, perfect. kind of tricky when the camera is above me to know where to put my placement at, but not too bad. All right, so with this one, we're going to do the same thing with our flowers using the two-toned flowers, just like we did with the last card. So I'm going to open up our Poppy Parade, and this is for a casual crafter. So this this card would be for someone who has more than one ink color, who has done a little bit of collecting as far as the punches go, or maybe even has some embellishments that they're playing with, but that they're not afraid to add a little bit to cards, but kind of don't overdo it. They don't use a ton of embellishments or use the big shot quite yet. They're still kind of easing into what they create with. So all I'm doing is I'm pretty much just making my own background. I'm stamping off, and then I'm doing the second generation on, let me see here. I'm going to do one more off the side, just here, because we're going to leave a little bit of white space at the bottom. So that is that one, and now we'll do the full strength with our Poppy Parade. And just go right over our flower. Man, I love these. They're so pretty. I've only stamped with them in the Poppy Parade so far, and so they're pink stained stamps, which just tells me how much I've used them already, that they are that color already, and I love it. It already tells me that this stamp set was worth my pre-order because I've already used it that much. I don't often get to get a whole bunch of those things in advance. So when I do, I have to really, really want it. So I'm going to just clean these off to the side here so that they're ready for the next card. And I will get out our ribbon to do the next part of our card. Again, this one is not super difficult as far as the stamping goes, because now what we're going to do is we're going to just use a leaf punch. So I'm going to move around our, I'm going to put my sentiments on the top there. I'm just going to grab this tiny little leaf stamp, and we're actually going to do a leaf on both sides of the bottoms of each of our flowers. So we're going to open up our Old Olive just to give this card a little bit more color, and I'm just going to stamp at the bottom of each of our flowers. The one that I did earlier had no rhyme or reason to them, and some of the leaves looked darker than others, and some I had to stamp twice because I didn't push down all the way the first time. So nothing too fancy, but totally doable for sure. Super easy. But this is something that anybody could do, because you don't have to be super particular with where you put your flowers or how your leaves are facing. So that is it with the stamping. We're finished with this card number 2 stamping, and now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna clean off my stamp there. I'm so sorry if you hear my kitty. She is outside of my door making a lot of noise, which I thought I fixed the problem because she needed food. But maybe she just wants to tell me thank you because she is meowing out there. She's kind of getting chatty. So what we're going to do with our braided linen trim is we're going to put it at the bottom of our Whisper White layer, and it is going to go right here. Oh, she's so noisy. If I let her in here, she would want to climb all over me though, so I'm going to just let her cry out there. Okay, so that is what we're going to do with that layer. And now we are going to use our snail adhesive. We're going to use our snail adhesive and hopefully get it all to lay down. And put it on our old olive base, just like that. And so next, what I want to do is I want to show you how I layer this tailored tag punch. So I just put a little bit of adhesive at the top, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to leave a little bit of space. I'm going to maybe raise it up and you guys can see a little bit better. So I'm going to leave just a little bit of space, but I want the sides to be lined up because this is just, we just punched this punch out 3 different times, one in Old Olive and 2 times in Poppy Parade. So now this one, we're just going to do it just on that one side. And then we put it just like that. So that is our punch that we used for this one. And we're going to put it right here with some dimensionals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimensional down at the bottom and the top. And then I'll put one on each side. She is being so noisy. I'm so sorry if you can hear her. Poor kitty. So we are going to take the dimensional backings off and, oh, it's sticking to my finger now. And we are going to put that on just like that on our card. And now this is something I haven't done with you, mainly because I'm afraid of how many times I would retie the bow every time. So I'm going to just, the braided linen trim is one of the easier ribbons, I feel like, to tie a bow with, and it still looks cute every time. So I am just leaving it on the spool, if you can tell that. And I just kind of tighten it where it's where I want it. And I don't really care if it has little loop-de-loops or anything in it. I think they still look really cute. And I'm going to take my paper snips and just trim it up, mainly because of how low it will be on our, here, I'll do it a little bit more, how low it will be on our card base. We'll do it really low. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take another glue dot. And again, this is an old box, but these glue dots come in rolls of 300 and they last me a really, really long time. So they are a great investment for any casual crafter or avid crafter. So I'm just going to stick my glue dot right on top of my thread that I put around on both sides. And that is our card number 2 for a casual crafter. This is the one that I did earlier. And this is the one that we did tonight. Again, this one I made with the shimmery white cardstock. And this one is with a Whisper White. So you can kind of see the difference in color, that this one looks a little bit more mild. So again, this is our first and second cards. One is our simple stamping, hashtag simple stamping card. And this next one is for a casual crafter. So that just shows 2 different examples with the same stamp set of kind of stepping it up. Hi, Aunt Nay. So this is our first one and this is our second one. So our last card that we're going to do together today is for an Avid Crafter. And what I'm going to do with that one is I'm actually going to use 3 different colors of ink on this next card. And I need to not show you the example. And this one, actually, I used a challenge from our Pink Stamper team for our sketch challenge to inspire the sketch of this card. And it has something really fun that I'm excited to do with you. Because one of our layers that could be stamped, or I could do the background like I did the last time, but I kind of wanted to change it up and use our Stampin' Blends to do kind of an ombre effect background on this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our Poppy Parade Dark and our Poppy Parade Light, and I'm just going to go through this with you just like I did my first one. So I'm going to take my scratch paper here, and this is the base that we're coloring our ombre on is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So I'm going to fold this paper in half just to give us a little bit more underneath, because our Stampin' Blends are amazing, but they bleed through, and so you will be able to see color on the other side of our cardstock today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our brush tip, and I usually start with the dark color, and I'm just going to do it from the top down. So I'm just going to go back and forth using the dark from the top to the bottom, and I'm going to try really hard not to shake my table. This came out really pretty on my card that I made earlier, so I am really excited to show it to you guys. So I usually do like halfway down on my cardstock, and then what I'll do after I do a little bit of the light Poppy Parade, I will come back in with a little bit darker at the top there. So I'm going to just go over it just to try to take away any lines that might be in the middle. But usually with our Stampin' Blends, the lines kind of go out as you go, so they don't usually stay. So that is with the dark Poppy Parade Stampin' Blends, which are beautiful and I love them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to go up from the middle here, and then it's going to come out a little bit lighter. So this just shows kind of the difference between the light and the dark. They're the same shade of ink, but they do look different on purpose because they're made to blend together and to kind of make a really pretty effect to your projects. So I'm just going to go to the top with my light Poppy Parade, and that's what makes this an Avid card, is that I'm using extra things that not everybody has in their collection. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bleed from that line of where I finished off with the dark Poppy Parade. I think my first card I went over it a couple of different times, and then I come back in with the dark as well. So that just shows a little bit more of an ombre effect with our Stampin' Blends. I'm going to come back in with the dark and go down again. Into that middle line, and then I'll kind of go down in that section, in the middle section, to just kind of bring some more blending. I'm probably trying to rush this all a little bit as well, and that is why it keeps jumping out of my hands. But I really love our Stampin' Blends, and so I was super excited to try this with you guys. All right, so I'm going to stop messing with it. Hi, Lauren. So this card, again, is for an Avid Crafter because we are using all of the things that we used for our casual card and our simple stamping card, but we are bringing a little bit more work or elements into it as well. So for our base, we are using a Poppy Parade base again, just like we did with the first card. And this one is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4 on there. And so then, because I was using our Poppy Parade blends to make this ombre effect, I wanted to break the color up a little bit, and so I cut out a whole other piece of Whisper White that was just a smidge bigger on all 4 sides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adhere our, and this is what it looks like on the other side, which also kind of looks really cool. Those Stampin' Blends are alcohol-based markers, and so they tend to bleed through, which they are just so fun to use. So I love that they're coming out with more and more colors in our color line because I love them. So we just put that on our base of our, we have a little bit of a border of Whisper White. I have little ribbon pieces everywhere. Okay, so we have a little Whisper White border on our ombre layer. And now what we're gonna do is I can adhere that layer down as well with our snail adhesive. Oh, and you guys are gonna get to see me do a refill. Awesome. I haven't done that in a while. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I have to find my refills so far. All right, so the refill will come having a little bit more information at the top, but I like to stick these in my containers. So sorry. I like to stick them in my containers when I go out of town, and so they fit into these containers if I cut the top off of them. So this one has already been prepped to go on a trip with me, even though I haven't needed it to do that. So I just open it up and take this tiny little piece of cardboard out of it. I'm gonna toss that. So now I just pinch the top and the bottom, have little pinch places. So that one just takes the old one out, and so I'm gonna grab this one from the top. And then I just slide it into place and it clicks and then it's done. Hi Debbie, glad you're here. And so that is all there is to it when you refill. At the beginning, when you get a new snail refill, one of my favorite things is that it makes a louder sound, the clicking sound. So super easy to do. So we're just gonna adhere down our bottom 2 layers just like that. So we did the ombre with our Stampin' Blends, the Poppy Parade. That's kind of the shining color of the day. And so now what we have is I have a little piece of vellum, which we used to do our sprigs for the simple stamping card. This one is cut at 3.5 by 2.5. And what we are going to do is we're going to use a little bit of snail adhesive to put this layer down right here. Now, because I'm using snail on here, you can see it through the vellum, but we're gonna cover this part up, so that is okay. Don't worry about it. So what we're gonna do is, for our next part, we are going to use this piece of Whisper White. I am realizing that I need to fix my blade for my, oh goodness, there it is, for my cutter, because it has little fuzzies everywhere. So what we're going to do on this one is really fun, because we are going to use that beautiful flower again. And I have my scratch paper right here. And I'm going to set this base aside for a second. So this is for an Avid Crafter, because we have a lot more layers for this stamp, or this card. So we're going to ink up that same base, and we're going to stamp it off again. And we're going to put our little flower at the top there, and then we'll do full strength for the top for the second one. And then we're going to bring in a whole other flower for this next part. So that is all we need our Poppy Parade ink for. We used it in all 3 of our cards today, so that was super exciting. I love getting to show more and more ways to use up the supplies that we have. So I'm happy to share different ideas with the same stamp set and the same inks, just to show how versatile these things can be. So the next one that we are using now that we are done with this pink flower that has been so loved today, I'm going to put that back in our case, and we are going to use this little sprig and then these that'll go with it. So this one, we are also using the sentiment that said, "I'm so glad we're friends." So that one is right here. So that's the sentiment we're going to use. So all of our sentiments, all of our stamps, everything that we've used today have all been from the Incredible Like You stamp set. So that is really fun. I was really happy to do that. So we're going to do those and that one there. So we will be using our Memento Tuxedo Black ink for our sentiment with this one. So I'll show you how to do that one, and we're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting with that as well. So the second color that we use, just like the second card, is we are going to bring in some Old Olive, but then for our little flower pieces, we are going to add in the Gorgeous Grape color. And I believe so the Poppy Parade and the Gorgeous Grape are both colors from our Brights collection. And the Old Olive used to be from the Brights collection, but in this new catalog, they moved some colors around, and the Old Olive is now in our Regals collection. So we're using this Gorgeous Grape to add these cute little purple flowers. Oh, I did the wrong color. I need to rinse that off really quick. That's what happens when I have two different ink colors out at one time. I was totally just trying to be crafty and creative and doing it all at once, but that gets me into trouble. Okay, so this one is in the Old Olive, and I'm going to do another one right here, and I'm going to just do this one now while I'm working on it. Okay, so that is all we're doing with the Old Olive, and I'm going to close it up so that I don't put it on the wrong ink again. Okay, so now we're just going to put our purple little flowers on those little spots. And there is a total glare, so I'm trying really hard not to have that. So those are our flowers. And now I wanted to bring a little bit more of our Gorgeous Grape into this card. So I'm going to quick clean off these stamps and set them aside super quick. And we are going to put just a little piece, and this one is cut at 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. We're going to put this at the bottom, just giving us a little bit of white space, but bringing in a little bit more color to that. So what this is going to do is this is going to layer on top of some Poppy Parade, just like that. I'm going to try to smush over my little tuft edges from my cutter. And this layer of Poppy Parade is cut at 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And we're going to put this layer right on top of our Poppy Parade. So there will be a little bit more, I'm sorry if my head just got put in the frame, but there will be a little bit more on the sides than there are on the top and the bottom, but that was on purpose. So I have also cut a piece of our braided linen trim to, I think it's 4 1/4, but it's pretty much just the length so that it can get taped around the bottom of this. Because we used our braided linen trim in our casual card, I thought it would be really fitting to have it for our Avid card as well, because why would we take something off? We just want to add more. We just want to add more as an Avid Crafter. So that is going to go, and we're going to pop up this layer just like this. Again, This card layout was inspired by our Pink Stamper challenge for our sketch challenge this week. I've been trying really hard to do the challenges, and I've been doing awful at it. So this week I just told myself I'm going to try to at least do 2 out of the 3, and we'll see if I actually get those done. So this is the second one. So if I remember to post it tonight, it will be a miracle, because that has happened so many times in the last couple of months that I will do the challenge and then not post it. So then they're on to a new challenge. So we are using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink for our sentiment, and I'm just making sure I have all my coverage there. And we are gonna just hold it just for a second, and that is perfect. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of fussy cutting on this, because I kind of want the color to show over. I don't want it to be pretty, I don't want it to be boxy. And an avid crafter would not be afraid to do a little bit of fussy cutting for their project. That's kind of what I'm telling myself anyway, is that an avid crafter wants to do all those extra things and looks at a card and sees what other things can be added, or what special techniques that you can use on it. So that is what this card was inspired for, an avid crafter. So we are just going to cut out. It's really hard for me to talk at the same time. So we're cutting out our sentiment, and then we are almost done with our cards today. And that was almost at an hour to do 3 cards for the Step It Up cards. All right, so I'm going to set those scraps aside, and then we have a couple more things I still need to do. So I'm going to add dimensionals on the back of this layer here, and it's a little bit bigger, so we are going to add a few more than we normally do. Sorry, my throat is getting kind of scratchy. I haven't had enough of my coffee tonight. I'll put one more in the center. All right, so we're going to pop up this layer, and then after we put on our sentiment, we have one more thing that I still want to do, which is tie another cute little bow with our braided linen trim. I need to redo my fingernails. They haven't been done in a long time. Just have not had the time in my priorities to do it. All right, so that is going to get put right there. And this one, we're going to put kind of off to the edge here, just like that. And I'm going to use snail. All right, so I'm going to roll the adhesive so that it's just at the top. All right, so we're going to put that right there to cover up our leaves. And I might get a glue dot really fast to put on the bottom part right here. Let me see if I can do that. That'll give just a little bit more on the bottom, just because I didn't tape on that bottom part like I meant to. All right, so now we're gonna take, let's see if I can do a bow out of this tiny little piece that's left. That'll be the tricky part. If I can do that while on camera, it is gonna be a miracle. So we're gonna take this piece. This is going to be really funny. Okay. I have not done a ton of bows, but I've been practicing a little bit more. Okay, I might have to get out my new one. That might not be enough. Good thing I still have some. I still have some. It's just a new roll. I just don't trust myself to make a bow out of that tiny of a piece. It's probably what I'll end up using though, sadly enough. If I had just a little bit more wiggle room to do the bow with more material from the beginning. Okay. And that is our cute little bow. Cut off those ends there. And we're going to do another glue dot on the back of that bow. We are almost done with all 3 of our cards for our Step It Up cards. Okay. Really try to play with our bow a little bit so that it's not hanging down funny. All right, so that is our 3rd card. We did one for a beginner stamper for our Stampin' Up! Simple Stamping Challenge. This one is the Avid Crafter card. And then this one up here is for our Casual Crafter. And then this first one that we did was for our Simple Stamping Challenge. That was a Valentine's Day inspired card. All 3 of them were made with the Incredible Like You stamp set. This one here that you can find in our Occasions catalog, and the number is right down there. You can order any of the items that I used today on my online store 24/7. That one is open. So I hope that you were inspired to also create a simple stamping card, but also just look and see, challenge yourself to do a beginner, a casual, and an Avid card just to see what your style is or where you fall into that. But I had a great time with you guys tonight, and we almost ended perfectly in an hour, which was a definite goal. I really am not always sure what I'm going to do until the night that it comes. And so the fact that once I started playing with the flowers on that set, I just kind of kept going and going, and it was a lot of fun to create these projects. So I hope you all love them, and thanks for watching the replay, those of you who do that as well. And I hope that you guys have a great week. I will see you next week with another Sunday night live stamping. And we will have to wait and see what we are going to work on together, because I'm not even sure yet. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. I have to unhook my device there. All right, bye.